It's a great day when you're hanging around. Nothing's ever gonna bring me down. Good times are coming our way. Whenever, wherever, whatever today.
Today is going to be a great day. I am Nikki G, your host. Welcome to the Lone Doctrine, the food for thought exploration station, and your place in making today better than yesterday. This month, we've been talking and exploring the topic of anxiety. As we explore further, I'd like to share with you Beating Yourself Up by Steve Pavlina. Even though our topic of the month is anxiety, the first step in getting through is really becoming your own advocate. To sometimes not beat yourself up when times or things get hard. Your commitment to your betterment is what will see you through. But know that it's okay to have bad days. What's most important is that you keep stepping forward. Okay, let's explore. Beating yourself up. A common mistake for personal growth newbies is to wrap one's self-esteem into short-term results. This often leads to self-blame and excess worry when results are below expectations. If we use the lenses of truth, love, and power, our fundamental growth principles, we can see why beating yourself up for mistakes and failures is an ineffective approach that doesn't actually help you grow. Here's the truth lens. When viewed through the truth lens, we can readily see why beating ourselves up for mistakes will only make things worse. Since all input serves as a form of programming our brains, it's predictable that negative self-talk, especially when it comes habitual, will serve to lower our future performance. We're essentially programming ourselves to perform poorly when we use negative self-talk. We behave like a computer that installs a virus to slow itself down. When you make mistakes, blaming yourself as an individual isn't a very useful way to address problems. Problems could have been caused by circumstances outside of your control. Even if you made a mistake due to ignorance or poor performance, it's more intelligent to view such a mistake as a software problem. Something in your thinking or behavior caused the problem, and therefore your best bet is to work on improving your thoughts and behaviors so you can avoid similar problems in the future. As a human being with a human brain, you're a learning machine. There isn't much value in a learning machine that programs itself to lower its own performance. Trying to avoid mistakes would indeed prevent some mistakes, but mistakes are essential to the learning process. A learning machine that cuts off its ability to make mistakes would eventually become a static machine that's incapable of further growth. To continue learning and growing, it's important to accept that mistakes are going to happen and that this is how you learn. You may have been taught or conditioned to believe from a young age that mistakes are bad and must always be avoided. Or if you make mistakes, it means you're lesser of a human being somehow. As you become more conscious and self-aware, however, you'll recognize that these were foolish lessons that are out of alignment with reality. And you can consciously choose to discard such unhelpful beliefs. These beliefs are throwbacks to outdated thinking. Today, we live in a knowledge-rich age where continuous learning and growth are more important than avoiding mistakes. Here's another lens to look through, the love lens. Consider the consequences to your overall happiness if you fall into the habit of beating yourself up for mistakes. Does it make you any happier to wrap negative results into your self-image? What does thinking of yourself as a failure do to your emotional life? More often than not, such thinking will invite negative emotions like fear, worry, and stress. If you wrap failures into your self-esteem, then you didn't just fail. You've become the failure. You are the mistake. And this means that you can no longer trust yourself to make an intelligent decision going forward. You have to accept further failure and therefore further negative impact to your self-esteem. This is a stressful proposition, and it's going to encourage you to hold back from stretching yourself. You're probably not going to risk further damage to your self-esteem. The more you try, the more you risk failure, and therefore the more you invite further degrading of your self-image. This will most likely lead you to tighten up when it comes to taking otherwise worthwhile risks. Your rate of learning and growth will slow down and you will plateau. The lens of love reveals that people grow fastest when their lives are aligned with their desires. Do you want to plateau and live a largely static life for the remaining decades? Is this prospect in alignment with how you'd ideally like to experience this existence? Do you want to play it safe and basically remain stuck till you die? Also consider the impact on your relationships with other people. If you get into the habit of allowing failure to downgrade your self-esteem, then it will be much harder to take social risks. Socializing is rife with failures big and small. Sometimes you'll be rejected. Sometimes you'll behave in a socially awkward manner and people will notice. Such failure experiences help you to socially calibrate your behaviors. But if you can't handle failure, then you'll prevent yourself from achieving social savviness. You'll remain stuck in that socially awkward phase, and that's likely to lead you to some degree of loneliness and a feeling of disconnection from others. If you aren't so resistant to mistakes and failures, you can skill build faster in this area and you can enjoy the fruits of a rich and abundant social life. Furthermore, growth-oriented people tend to cluster together so they can encourage each other to grow faster. In such social networks, people don't often make room for those who beat themselves up. It's similar to non-smokers avoiding smokers, largely because the former can't stand the smell of the latter. Likewise, those who drop in the downward spiral of low self-esteem will tend to attract social connections that resonate with such patterns, such as abusers and other negative-minded folks. Your social network will eventually reflect your neural network. Like it or not, the social and emotional consequences of beating yourself up for failure can be severe, and overcoming such behavior can feel like digging yourself out of a pit when you've attracted a social situation that reinforces your current plateau or downward spiral. Here's another lens, the power lens. Beating yourself up for mistakes is disempowering as well. Imagine if Siri behaved this way. What if each time you asked for her help and she made a mistake, she beat herself up? And over time, she began updating her programming to try to avoid making more mistakes. Eventually, Siri would start to sound like the character Sadness from Pixar movie Inside Out. Hey Siri, what's a good movie to see? Geez, I don't know. You didn't like the last one I suggested. Do you know that Siri will sometimes defend her self-esteem if you try to harshly criticize her? Hey Siri, you suck. I'm doing my best. Do you forgive yourself so easily? Do you accept that mistakes are okay since they're a natural part of the learning process? Isn't it more empowering to believe that you're always doing your best? You can continue to learn, grow, and improve. But for right now, why not just accept that you're doing the best you can? If you could have done better, you would have. There's no point in beating yourself up for mistakes. There is, however, much to be gained by extracting lessons from your mistakes and applying those lessons to improve future thinking and behaviors. Consider life's challenges as a form of strength training. Heavy weights help you get stronger. They're supposed to be challenging. Otherwise, you wouldn't grow as much. So, what is this idea of growth versus self-blame? Since self-blame is out of alignment with truth, love, and power, the practice will only slow you down. At best, you'll plateau, and at worst, you'll succumb to a downward spiral. To avoid such a pit of despair or to dig yourself out of one, the solution is to regard yourself as a programmable and to realize that your programming can be changed. Stop identifying yourself with the software that's been programmed into your head. Recognize that just like Siri, you're capable of learning and growing. You can upgrade your software. Given the state of your current software, you're already doing the best you can, and you can't expect to do any better. Your mental and emotional software is performing as it was programmed. If you want to see better performance, then you'll need to upgrade your software. And for human beings, this means training yourself with new experiences. This also means inviting more mistakes and failures as a part of the learning process. Can you make some grand mistakes with no loss to your self-esteem? This is a key challenge of conscious growth. One of the most powerful reframes you can use is to apply gratitude where you might have otherwise had a tendency to think poorly of yourself. Instead of beating yourself up for when you fail, try saying thank you instead. Thank the universe for bringing you a meaningful growth challenge. Look at the weight that's right in front of you and feel some excitement that is going to help you grow stronger. The more mistakes and failure you can handle without loss of self-esteem, the faster you can grow and the grander and more expansive your growth experiences can be. Here at the Lone Doctrine, we like to explore all types of food for thought. And that one brings about something that I truly believe in, and that is to fail fast and fail forward. There are so many things in our lives where we're taught that failure is a bad thing, that we should always try to reach for perfection. Now, of course, I am also a big believer in always doing your best. But time and time again, we have to remind ourselves not to beat ourselves up because we are human. And the things that we want to progress with, we may make mistakes along the way. And that's okay as long as we step back, we are willing to learn the lesson, and then we keep moving forward. It is so important to fail forward, whether it be in your personal life, with your relationships, in your workplace, or whether you're pursuing your dreams or your dream job. If you look up any biographies of anyone that has had the courage to just fearlessly go after success, they have more failures than you can ever imagine. But it's doing your best each and every time. And if things don't work out as planned, then it's stepping back, seeing the lesson, and realizing you've been met with an opportunity. Thank you so much for listening, for tuning in and exploring with us. We have more episodes coming your way, so if you haven't subscribed to us on iTunes or wherever you've been listening to us, subscribe today, and thank you to our current subscribers, and thank you for all your reviews. Your reviews help in making it easier to find the podcast in the search engines for those in need. And an extra thank you to our Patreons. The Lone Doctrine is a listener-supported podcast, and if you're interested in supporting us and keeping us on air, head over to patreon.com/Lone Doctrine, patreon.com/Lone Doctrine. Together, we make a difference. And until next time, keep fighting the good fight.
It's a great